Hey guys, so I haven't really gotten a chance to cover this, so here we go now. So a few ban lists dropped recently, so it's just the two, I guess. So we'll go over it real fast. So um, cards to be limited: Redux, Dragon Ruler of Boulders title, Dragon Ruler of Waterfalls, Performable Monkey Board, Zodiac Rapier, and Zodiac Barrage. So honestly, Performable Monkey Board, I don't even know what this does exactly. For like anyone at one, does this do something? I think it was like lacking a hard once per turn or something, so if you mix it with astrograph, it might be like decent. But if it's at one, you can't search like another monkey board, so um, I think this card's just probably fine at one. I don't think it has any issue. It might honestly be put at 2 on a later date, but maybe not 3. I mean, probably not, because we're constantly getting new like pen stuff, and this can get out of hand if it's at like 3, probably. So then we have like these dragon rulers, and honestly, I don't think these dragon rulers really do anything. As far as I could tell when I read their effects, they look pretty trash to me. I mean, they're just outdated. And moving along here, we have Zodiac Barrage. This is probably the best card they're unlimiting here. So Zodiac Barrage has this effect of basically just summoning a Zodiac monster from deck, and it's just a spell that does so. So it's just a special summon a level 4 monster. So that is useful for a lot of different decks, and at the very least, if you were to play like 3 Zodiac Barrage and like 2 Zodiacs in your deck, maybe like 2 or 3, I'm not sure, it doesn't super matter, but let's assume you do that and you just draw into Barrage and not so much the level 4 zoos you just randomly have. They can be used as level 4 bodies, or you can just sit on like a Trident and it's just like a pop every single turn. So kind of like a ghetto DP, if you will, you know, just sitting on that, which is fine, I guess. And then let's go a bit further back, and then we have this list here. So this list is actually pretty strange. So Zodiac Trident will now be at 3. Lyrilisk Cobalt Sparrow is finally freed, and honestly, this is fine. I don't really care about Lyrilisk Cobalt Sparrow in general. Like, this ban list affects basically our rank play and our this also affects our I guess like festivals technically, because stuff doesn't ever get taken off the ban list for the festivals, which in my opinion they should do that. Like, if Pot of Greed were available in one of the festivals, there would be people that craft that, and that would not be like a bad thing in my opinion. Like, some people might be like, oh, but like if I craft Pot of Greed for like this event, I can only use it for this event. Well, that wouldn't be necessarily true. You'd be able to use it for the next event possibly as well, if they keep letting us use like Pot of Greed, for example, in the festivals. Then that'd be a little bit interesting, you know. But that's me getting sidetracked a bit here. So Lyrilisk Cobalt Sparrow is mostly just annoying in events, because Lyrilisk OTK just keeps showing up in all sorts of different festivals for no real reason, and I'm not really a big fan of Lyrilisk because of those events specifically. Like, honestly, before the festivals, I didn't even care that much about Lyrilisk or Lyrilisk Tri Brigade for that matter. Like, just not even when it was meta, you know, it's just whatever. And then anyways, Runic Fountain is at 1. Mathmech Diameter is also at 1. Runic Fountain kind of deserved to be at 1, you know, it's just really, really annoying. If you added Runic Fountain, you deserve a payoff. Aside from, alright, I guess they'll just search another one, and then what am I supposed to do here? Just, alright, nothing, I guess. Considering they have Hugin, which can protect, And then they have Moonin, which can also protect, so it's like targeted protection and also destruction protection. And Hugin is just destruction protection from everything. So, pretty obnoxious card to out. Even worse in best of one, of course. And then pairing this with stun, it's like, all right, now what? So now they have a bunch of floodgates, and then I can't do anything about those floodgates because they're being protected by Hugin, and if I start trying to set something up, the runic side of the deck just screws me. Great. And then, of course, we have Mathmech Diameter being limited to 1. A lot of people, for some reason, they were saying, like, this does nothing, but Konami's intention is not to make Mathmech unplayable. This is just to reduce the power level of Mathmech, and Mathmech Diameter is actually just stupid. So, notably, if I were to, well, let's just say, for example, my opponent special summons Circular, and I just negate it with Imperm here. It does nothing. What they can do now is special summon Alimbertian, and then grab Diameter effect to special summon is not what we do. So we actually do Alimbertian effect first to summon Circular, and then normal summon Diameter. Bring back our copy of Sigma, and then Sigma summon would trigger Circular, as well as the Diameter normal summon, but either or would trigger Circular's effect to search. And then this doesn't even consider the fact that Mathmech Diameter is going to be the card that allows you to deal with hand traps. So Signet Mining, of course, is what you would prefer. Like, you would be able to use to search Circular, but you would prefer opening Mathmech Diameter and Circular. So let me just go through the combo for you. So if we go ahead and do normal summon, special summon Circular, and then we normal summon Mathmech Diameter, targeting Sigma is where we would go with this. And then with this, we have multiple options, but anyways, the Diameter will trigger Circular, and then we can add a Mathmech spell or trap. So at this stage, what can you negate? The correct answer is nothing is good here. So if you were to Imperm Diameter to stop it from special summoning Sigma, Sigma can still special summon itself anyways, so that is not a big deal for them. And if you hold Imperm for later, Imperm will no longer be usable in just a second. And then after this, if you try to negate, for example, Circular to stop the search of Superfactorial, well, I hate to break it to you, but they will still search Superfactorial with Alimbertian, which you will not be able to stop. So at this stage, we can then do, like, for example, assuming they have one more extender in hand, just like, for example, let's go with, I don't know, Mathmech Addition. Then they can even go for, like, more security. If, for example, they wanted to play around Imperm Nibiru, they can go ahead and link off Circular for Linkuriboh, then Alimbertian with Circular and Sigma, or not Circular and Sigma. It would be Diameter and Sigma, and then we would use well, actually, they could even sequence it different, I guess, depending on how it's done exactly. But yeah, that's the general idea. So we get Linkuriboh with our copy of Alimbertian, and the Alimbertian has an Omni Negate since it was made with Diameter. It is only for this turn, though, which is more than enough for our opponent. So they can, if they have enough gas, like, worst case scenario for you, they do. Like, notably, it's worse if they have Parallel Exceed. But I just said subtraction because they can have all three, and typically they do have all three because Parallel Exceed is run at 3. They have copies of Small World. They have Scinet Mining. Well, had Scinet Mining at 3, Diameter at 3, Circular is at 3, of course. So just any combination of these three can tank a lot of hand traps and even prevent Nibiru and such. That even if you hand trap on certain parts, you have to hand trap early against certain hands, but those hand traps do nothing. Notably with what I was saying with the Diameter and the Circular. So if you imperm Circular, they can just let it go through. They don't even have to cross out it or anything if they had cross out, and they'll just Celebration Surge Super Factorial. And even with more powerful hand traps, they might not necessarily do anything. Even with like a Bestial on Sigma, that might not do anything either. Notably, if you did have Sigma, there still is like a threat of, for example, Link off Circular for Link Rebound. They still have their normal summon, so that's pretty nasty. But they don't have to even necessarily link off, for example, their copy of Circular, because another small issue is that their hand, even if it's full of hand traps, they can still play. Like, they can use hand traps as part of their combo. So, for example, they can special summon Parallel Exceed using Ash Blossom Joyous Spring. Like, normal summon Ash Blossom Joyous Spring, assuming they have, like, maybe 2 Ash Blossoms. And then they can special summon Parallel Exceed by linking off Ash Blossom into Almirage, which is a Cyber, so they don't get affected by their they're a bit of a Cyberse lock there, and they're fine and able to play like that. The engine is also pretty compact, and basically every single card is a starter and an extender, so that's pretty crazy. So just limiting their ways into like one of their most powerful like extender starters or whatever, like Scinet Mining, Mathematic Diameter, that is pretty huge. A bigger semi-limit would probably be Parallel Exceed, but yeah, that feels like a little bit brutal for me. I don't know if Parallel Exceed deserves that treatment, but yeah. Mathematic Diameter and Scinet Mining, they're both like pretty strong, notably with Diameter being able to invalidate like the existence of most of your hand traps. The only one that will do anything is probably then going to be like Maxi. Aside from Maxi, no other like hand trap is going to cause enough damage to really matter. Like, if you think about it, if your opponent simply opens Circular Diameter, which is pretty damn likely because Scinet Mining, Mathematic Diameter being at 3, and then Small World is of course at 3 as well. So it would just be the simply opening a copy of Diameter and then any copy of Mining or a copy of Small World, and that would do it probably, because everything just bridges in this deck. I guess it's just how it works. You know, it could be a coincidence really, and then you're just dealing with this, and it's not a fun time. So yeah, that's kind of an issue. Also, board breakers. Well, let's think of board breakers that actually help you break the Mathmech board. So Deceive Worm is probably in the graveyard. So the typical combo you can expect to see ends on basically standby, send Deceive Worm, and then they probably used a copy of the Deceive Worm to send your one copy of Microcoder to the graveyard. You could run more, but whatever. And then you bring that back with Splash Mage, and then you can link off for Terahertz as well as Heat Soul, and you get 2 draws, so you can probably draw into some hand traps and maybe extenders. It doesn't super matter, but either way, now you have drawing 2 cards. So assuming you just did like Diameter plus Circular, and that was like your combo, then you draw back the 2 cards you used for the combo, so you're back at 5 cards, and now your end board consists of like Deceive Worm, so Spell Trap, Negate, and then you have as well as that, you have your copy of Super Factorial, which is Omni Negate, non-targeting spell trap removal, non-targeting monster removal, and also a hand rip, as well as, of course, the Omni Negate that you get from Diameter. And then on top of this, yeah, you're dealing with another Omni Negate, specifically Counter Trap. So that is not like super kaijuable or anything. If you kaiju, you only remove the Decepworm negate at this point. And then you still have to contest, of course, with the 5 hand traps. Or not 5 hand traps, the 5 hand cards your opponent has. So it's probably like 2 hand traps, typically. Maybe even an imperm. So back row removal won't do it unless you pair it with a kaiju. But even if you use back row removal, then you're playing on 3 cards against an Omni Negate. So, actually, let me see. No, it's 2 cards. Is it? No, 3 cards. You draw 1 for turn, right? So you have 3 cards to kill them. And if you don't kill them, they have recovery. So Sigma summons back, and then any normal summon would do it. So special summon Sigma, for example, and then we can normal summon Ash Blossom, link off for Almirage, and then we don't need any extenders from this point. They can make access code, and you're pretty done for. So access code by itself will not be lethal at the very least, but worst case scenario, normal summon second Diameter, which they could just have if you didn't have any hand traps or anything, of course, right? Then they have multiple copies of Diameter, and if they simply opened a Diameter for the first turn, they can still add another Diameter again, right? So with like Alimbertian, for example, that would be when they add Diameter, but you won't know that they already had Diameter, right? So either way, normal summon Diameter, for example, after you broke their board a bit, and then special summon Sigma, and that is enough bodies for update access. And that is miserable. But in fact, that would be what they did before. So now they actually can go G Golem, Link 2. I believe it was called Crystal Heart. So they can Crystal Heart, bring back Transcode, bring back Splash Mage, and then Splash Mage bring back someone else. Or they can just, like, for example, just bring back Terahertz with Transcode. And then now we can link off G Golem, Crystal Heart with Transcode to make access code, and that's actually what's probably going to end up happening now. So cool. What are you supposed to do about this? Probably just die, I guess. So yeah, not looking the best here, and that's just Mathmech, right? So Mathmech still playable and still fairly strong, and I think that is their intention. So then we have Pot of Desires, Quick Launch, Chaos Base, Pearly, and Pearly Delicious Memory, Labyrinth, Stovey, Torby. So Quick Launch is just a small hit. I don't know. This is honestly, I feel a little bit unnecessary because Chaos Base is much worse to an extent, but this is mostly to do with like playing through hand traps, I guess. So Chaos Base, pretty strong card. So Chaos Base, honestly, I think much worse than Quick Launch. Like in terms of like what this does is kind of degenerate. If we're talking like in degeneracy and not like actually how good or bad cards are, just to be clear. So Chaos Base, if you discard a light, for example, you can add the Dark Wyver Buster or whatever, and then you get like Light Wyver Buster and whatever, and this will net you a draw, and then you will also be able to get Striker Dragon, Romulus, and then Dragon Ravine, and discard for Dragon Ravine, all for free essentially, because you just discard the copy of like Wyver Buster, whichever one, the dark or light one, and then you have like your combo, and that ends on Boral End plus Borload Savage, and that's just a one card combo off of Chaos Base, kind of. It's like 1.5-ish. You discard a card, but you will have like a discard of some sort, right? And that's just a little bit strong, don't you think? Keeping in mind they also draw one. So whatever card they discarded and banished, it doesn't super matter, honestly. Whatever card it was, they basically get a card back, and they would probably discard a card that doesn't super matter to them anyways. Worst case scenario for you, personally, I think would be that they plus off of the card they discarded somehow. Like, for example, it's an Absa Router. That would be pretty bad. But I mean, Droll really hurts this, so I guess that's a thing. I mean, it also hurts Purley, so whatever. It doesn't hurt every deck enough. So that kind of makes the meta a bit, like, awkward in that sense. So, I mean, I guess that helps with that a little bit. So quick launch, I guess, is also kind of interesting, because technically your Ravine target, your goal would be to typically send Absa Router to add the copy of Tracer, to then special summon Tracer and do your combo. But like, you for example, if you had quick launch anyways, you can just quick launch, summon Rocket Tracer, and then pop the field spell, like in this case I guess Ravine, and then do the combo the same exact way, right? So I mean, this makes them a little less resistant, or yeah, a little less resistant to hand traps by removing copies of Chaos Base and quick launch for Dragon Link. But this hurts Rocket, which I don't like. So sometimes I do enjoy playing pure Rocket, as you do. But yeah, Pot of Desires. I really don't care about this card personally. I don't see how this card is ever good. Like, the only time it seems to be beneficial, in my opinion, is like when Sword Soul plays it. But aside from that, it doesn't really seem to be a card that really does a whole lot to me. Prosperity is just absolutely disgusting in comparison to Desires, if you ask me. So, yeah. Then we have Pearly Delicious Memory. So now there is a 66% chance that you will get Delicious Memory off of My Friend, and you are less likely to open Delicious Memory. So that is a hit for sure. And then Pearly to 2, so this affects like certain lists, but it doesn't actually shut them down per se. It just stops them from like extending a little bit more. And opening Pearly in hand is much worse now, but like still playable. And maybe that's all you need sometimes. The only thing that's kind of like weird about this is Delicious Memory to 2. So like now I can't even consistently search Delicious Memory, and that's like pain, assuming I am playing Pearly anyways. And then we have Labyrinth Stovey Torby. Literally in this entire ban list here, this is the most questionable hit of all time. Labyrinth Stovey Torby to 2. So let's list the different ways that you have Big Welcome. I simply open Big Welcome. That is 3 copies. Labyrinth Stovey Torby now at 2. Okay, so 5. And then we have Chandraglier, 8. Ariana, 11. And then if you really want to go for it, you still have the other level 4. So it's Ariane and Ariana, I believe. So then 14. 14 pretty reasonably consistent ways to get into Big Welcome. Intriguing. That is merely half your deck. And you choose, damn, Labyrinth Stovey Torby. I think that's the one we hit. Honestly, if you want to do like a real hit, Big Welcome to 1. That'd be a big hit. You know, it does something, right? So if you were to banish your Big Welcome, then you know, it's actually impactful because you don't have any more Big Welcomes. And I mean, yeah. That's pretty brutal, but we could even do a semi-limit then, in that case, if you still want one more in deck. Yeah? That wouldn't even be, like, that bad. I mean, it would hurt a lot more than this, at least. And then I'm just looking at this, and it's like, what does this actually stop? Yeah. This just, I guess, you know, it's like a tiny consistency hit, like barely noticeable, unless they do another hit later. Like Labyrinth Soviet Turbita 2? What does this change? I guess turn 1, it's slightly less consistent, I guess, to do like one of the furnitures, like the furniture combo with the either Chandreglier or Stovey Torby, and then using your copy of Coup Clock to do the combo with like Lovely. I guess that's what you stop here. So it's like hand rip or destroy 1 during turn 1 that costs you like 3 cards overall. So yeah, I'm sure that matters. Yeah, that definitely comes up a lot. And then yeah, the biggest hits here essentially are Fountain, Diameter, Mining, Quick Launch Chaos Space, and then Pearly Delicious Memory. Pearly does matter, but it shouldn't be a super big deal, I think, having Pearly to 2. Normal summon Pearly is still a thing, after all, you know, so perfectly fine as long as you don't open both Pearlies. Opening both Pearlies sounds like pain, simply put. And you still have, of course, 3 copies of the Black Cat, so, you know, with 3 copies of Pearly still, it's fine. Just Delicious Memory to 2 feels like bad. Because now there's just a random 33% chance that you don't get your Delicious Memory. And that's just randomly just hurts, you know? And as Adamant Danger player, it's just like, damn, I really did just get that 1 in 4 chance. Alright, I guess I will discard Chupacabra here for no effect and just go Pier neg 1 for the 3rd game in a row. Well, that, not great, I guess, right? And, yep. That is about everything here in regards to the ban list, so I can't even think of like any decks that can really use Zodiac Barrage that well. And Rapier, I believe, is just a useless card. I think Rapier doesn't do anything from what I remember. Like, not much at all, if anything. And the most like annoying usage I've seen someone use Barrage with is like they used Barrage with Tearlament, so this destroys by effect and not cost, probably. Then in that case I'd have to read Barrage to make sure, but yeah, they went ahead and like they can Barrage their like Kaleido, and that just works. The more annoying thing is they somehow didn't mill any copies of Barrage, nor did they mill any copies of their Zodiacs. And they somehow hard like drew like a Barrage off the top. I mean, I still won that game, but that was annoying, yeah. So Zodiac Barrage, well, this isn't a issue right now per se, but I don't know exactly all of the new Unchained support. I haven't read through them all yet, but with Barrage, that sounds good with Unchained, if you ask me. Unless they have some like branded fusion type text where it's saying like, alright, for the whole turn here, you can only summon fiend monsters. Unless there's some text like that, Zodiac Barrage sounds good with like Unchained, if you ask me. Because Trident also can pop your own cards, and that probably triggers something, so, you know. Sounds good to me. And I'm personally a little bit looking forward to playing some of the new Unchained stuff. Never really played Unchained, but I believe Unchained isn't a super expensive deck, so even if the support's a little expensive, I mean, it's probably not too bad to build compared to Vanquish Soul. Vanquish Soul, that deck is so expensive. Well, yeah. The ban list here, I was hoping, personally, for kind of like some different hits, but I can't be too upset about like the diameter and mining hits. It's Runic Fountain is decent, but yeah, there are a lot of cards that could have used some hits. But I mean, this right now, the game as it is not like super bad, I guess. Like, just as a personal thing, I almost wish Tearlament would get hit again. Simply because I just don't like playing against Tearlament. It's not that Tearlament is good, it's just... Guys, please. Just stop. Leave me alone. I don't want to deal with Tearlament anymore. That's about how I feel about that, I guess, so... Yeah. In terms of, like, cards I wish they would have hit, I can't really think of that many off the top of my head. But let's see. I mean, Dimension Shifter is a card I just don't like, personally, so if it got banned, I would never be that upset about that. But just thinking about it, anything worth hitting? I guess for right now, because of Expulsion Lock and stuff, I guess yugioh and that one Gimmick Puppet is annoying. But I mean, you can't just ban that Gimmick Puppet because that actually affects the, like, 10 Gimmick Puppet players out there, you know? But if you bash yugioh, that's no issue. But then they just swap to the Gimmick Puppet. Yeah. Not a whole lot you can do about this. You know what's so bad about that Gimmick Puppet lock? Even if you were playing Gimmick Puppet and this happened and your opponent just turned chains off, you wouldn't want to be Gimmick Puppet locked either. So, what can you do? Yeah, not much, I guess, when it comes to this stuff. Kind of just annoying, really. In terms of there being anything super unfair right now, I can't think of anything like that. So it's not like that upsetting. The most unfair thing was probably MathMech for a while. So after they did the diameter hit, it's actually been quite a bit better, and I've been seeing a lot less MathMech. That could be due to new cards coming out and people wanting to test that. But honestly, MathMech was just not super fun to play against, notably with how, like, they were able to just tank hand traps like they were nothing, and there were no points where it felt like, damn, I didn't hand trap them in the right place or anything. It was just, damn, I really used that hand trap, and they just had the guy for it. And my hand trap resulted in literally nothing. Now they won't have diameter for next turn, you know? A diameter in hand for next turn. Woe is me. That imperm. Whoa. Or, damn, they had, like, parallel exceed anyways, and now I can't activate my card. So, that sucks. And also, a little bit of, damn, I have a board breaker, but that board breaker does literally nothing for me. Like, for example, a kaiju. Damn, I sure have a kaiju. What will I do now? Nothing, because I'm going to get hand trapped to death, and then, you know, Super Factorial is going to resolve. So, yeah. That's about everything, I guess, right? So, yeah, that's all I got for you guys today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.